There's a lot of talk nationally about bail reform and pretrial release algorithms, and I've been seeing it more and more on social media as state by state initiatives are popping up in the legislature. And I can tell you right now, I'm going to give you my conspiracy theory. I left my tinfoil hat in my other car, but I'm going to break it down anyway. So if you're a bail bondsman or recovery agent and listening to this, just take it for what it's worth. Is that the algorithm doesn't work, house arrest doesn't work, and the people that are pushing this at VERA and the Southern Poverty Law Center and the Arnold Foundation, they know it doesn't work. These people are college-educated, Ivy League people. You think they don't understand that that algorithm is just a probability engine? They've been using house arrest for 30 years, and I could get the same success ratio by just putting a box with a 9-volt battery and a blinking light in it. Locks only keep honest people from stealing. The system doesn't work that they've instituted any better than random chance, and in fact statistically works worse than what we have, because a money system with a strong incentive is what gets people moving through the system. It's no different than anything else. If you get something for free and there's no consequence, you don't appreciate it. What the real end game here is that putting a blinking box on somebody's leg and telling them to make a phone call to return to court doesn't work. But what does work is shooting a chip in somebody's arm and telling them to come back to court. And if they don't, going and knocking on their door and dragging them back. And they say that politics is always downstream of culture. And we see it in pets and we see it in tech companies. It is not socially acceptable right now, the thought of tagging people like a deer and sending them back into the wild. But what you're going to get is a situation where that is happening. It's just happening in an inefficient way. A house arrest monitor is just a GPS tracker that's outside of the body. What you're going to get is about 15 or 20 more years of this failed policy, and they're going to slowly whittle away bail and other conditions of release. And then when there is very little or no professional bail left and the verdict is in that the current system of GPS and pretrial officers and algorithms is an utter failure, they're going to go, well, we had the right idea, we just had the wrong implementation method. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing right, so let's try this. And there's going to be a concerted effort on a cultural level in the next generation or two to make the idea of popping a chip in somebody socially acceptable. It's going to be both cost effective and easy and simple, and it's going to have a high success rate. It's going to work. But what you're going to get is a big brother state with an extreme deprivation of liberty, and essentially it's going to be able to, it can already obtain biometric readings, perspiration, blood pressure, elevated temperature, things of this nature. They're going to know if you're committing crime because they're going to see if you're in the area and your blood pressure was up and you're perspiring. Chances are you were somehow involved in a crime that occurred in that area in that time. I mean, these are not stupid people, and they have a plan, and it is not a short-term plan. It is a multi-generational plan, and it's probably ultimately pretty effective in theory, but in practice, it stands conversely to a lot of our fundamental, basic constitutional rights. So, again, I'm just throwing it out there because I see a piece on CBS Sunday Morning where you've got a gentleman, from the Equal Center Under the Law, or whatever that it's called this week, Equal Justice Under the Law, speaking to the effectiveness of these algorithms and the evils of cash bail. And this is not a stupid man. This is a college-educated attorney. And these people, except for perhaps the most zealots among them that have just are martyred to the cause, understand that empirically the system is not an improvement. But what they expect to come after it, they believe will get the job done in a way that they consider cashless and equal. And even if the end result is a worse result on average, is all they care about is that it's equal. It doesn't matter whether it's a net gain or a net loss. They just want it to be equal. So again, this is my crazy conspiracy theory. Maybe I'll live to see it, maybe I won't. In 30 years you can come back and look this up and tell me if I was right or not. But I believe it to be the logical conclusion based on the way the technology is heading and the way that this reform movement is going. It's pretty clear that they expect technology to be the answer, and it is not the current generation of technology. It's too easy to poke holes in. So there's a much deeper end game here that they expect to play out over the next 30 years or so. So, again, just my crazy conspiracy theory. I could be wrong.